If you're thinking about getting this S23 Ultra, there is something you should know. One thing, if you're using a Pixel watch, I was just using the Pixel 7 Pro. I found out that the ECG feature on this watch will not work with even the latest Galaxy phone, which is the S23 Ultra. Doesn't work. The watch runs off this ECG Fitbit app that's, it runs with the watch itself. And as you can see, this phone isn't compatible, and this is the S23 Ultra. So if you're using the Pixel, you will not be able to use that feature anymore. It won't work. So that's very disappointing. I had no idea about that. No one said anything about that. I just said, now everything else works. Your texts come through, the steps, all of that good stuff, your notifications, everything else works, but the ECG feature does not work. For someone like me that actually has a heart issue, that is one of the main reasons why I even have a smartwatch, either this Apple Watch or whatever. I need that ECG feature. All right, so that is a little, deterrent for me, but everybody's not going to fall in that category. But just something to know, you know what I mean? Somebody might want to know. Other thing is, like on the Unpacked, when they did the Unpacked event, they advertised 12 gigs of RAM, pretty much, because of the multitasking. Great. The phone is flawless as far as fluent, nothing lagging or nothing like that. But if you did not pre-order, and if you decide to go into a store right now and get this phone, that 12 gigs of RAM is only available if you get the 512 gig or the 1 terabyte of storage. This is a 512 because it was pre-ordered. But if you go in the store now, you're not going to get it. And the employees, they're not going to bring it up. Trust me. I already done been in there. They're not, a lot of them, they just read from the script that's on a piece of paper that was printed out from the manager. Like, they're not going to go into all the tech stuff unless you ask, and then they're going to be Googling. So for the soccer mom that goes into the mall because she has an upgrade, and this phone is supposed to be so fluent and fast and everything like that, she's not going to know. She's going to get the base storage, 256 gig, and it's going to only have 8 gigs of RAM. So when you're dealing with Android software, you need a lot of RAM to make everything run fluent for 2 years. So when you're doing these installment plans, you're doing them for 24 months. So the phone has to last that long. That's one thing about Android software. That's why they offer a lot of RAM, especially in these Galaxy phones, because they know you're going to need it if you're having it for the long haul. And because they're pushing the updates out for 4 years, they expect some people to hold their phones that long. And if you don't have the 12 gigs of RAM, after, 15 months or so, some stuff will probably start to lag. Stuff that you would normally be able to do when you first got the phone, you won't be able to. It won't be as fluent, fresh. You know what I mean? So that's something that's a little disappointing. If it was like 2 separate phones, now if you're getting the regular S23 or something like that, then obviously you wouldn't expect it to have a ton of RAM. But for the Ultra to have 2 different types of RAM, why not just put 12 in all of them? These phones are very expensive. That's just something that I noticed that everybody is not going to know when they go into that store. Employees are not going to tell you. The camera on this is super crispy. There are some improvements. I also have an S22 Ultra. Now, if you're coming from that type of phone, honestly, it's not gonna feel like a brand new phone. Like, okay, every time you pick it up, it's just not gonna feel new. That's not really a bad thing, but at the same time, the prices on these phones are getting crazy. $1,200 for a phone that doesn't feel as brand new every time you pick it up might be, a stretch, but it's hard to say. It just depends on the person. I don't feel like this is a good enough upgrade if you're coming from a 22 Ultra. It doesn't feel like that big of a jump. The zoom, it is good. The S22 Ultra was very good. It looks the same to me, to be honest with you. I mean, I've taken moon pictures with both, and it's not that much different at all. Like, you really need both pictures side by side, and you might see a little less graininess on the S23. So the zoom is very good, man. I mean, after you take the picture, it sharpens up, but it's not that much different from the S22. Now, if you're coming from any other phone and going to this, then any other Android phone, you go into this, I would say yes, it's definitely worth the upgrade. You will definitely notice a lot of improvements from what you've previously been using. But, you know, every 12 months to upgrade your phone is not going to be a huge difference pretty much in any company that you're coming from. Apple, Google, Samsung, you know, anybody. It's just too little of time to, you know, change the phone dramatically. You know, I would say at least maybe 2 to 3 years before you upgrade. So that's just me, you know what I mean? But overall, it's a great phone, but they are very expensive. $1,200. You want to know, like, I'm going to have this phone for a while and it feels new. Everything is upgraded, is different for that type of money. So just something to know. And the last thing about the video with this phone, Samsung, they average, when they show these, especially, and I think it was the Unpacked event, when they show the features of the video camera, they always show movie directors using the phone to record, shoot a movie. Like, that's great and all, but 99% of people who are buying these phones do not have that type of capability or the equipment or the skills to shoot a mini movie on the thing. And it's like, dude, we're not going to be doing that. We're not going to be in the middle of a desert on some horses and you got the phone hooked up to a rig and it's going 30 miles. Like, of course that's going to look great. I mean, you're using thousands of dollars of equipment with this phone. The average person is going to be in the park, at the movies, the mall, on the beach, everyday life type of stuff, birthday parties, at car events, whatever, shooting videos. So I think they should show videos from that. Like, show us how we can edit that, those types of regular events going on. Don't show all of these crazy shooting Avatar 5 with the S25. Like, we're not going to be doing that. Like, you need to bring it down a notch. Show us how we can take a regular video at an amusement park, edit it, and it looked like Warner Brothers did it or something. You know what I mean? Like, show us that. I think Apple does it too. Samsung just did it. Google, I can't remember if they did it or not, but they're showing these astronomical events. Look at the quality, and it can do this many frames, and the ISO is this, and the sunset. Like, dude, like, come on, man. We're not doing all of that. So I think they're just advertising it totally wrong. They should bring it down to where normal people can feel like when you look at that, it looks overwhelming. When somebody who's looking at the phone, like, oh, that looks amazing, sweet, but how can I do that? I can't do that. I'm not going to be doing all of that. I'm just going to be taking regular videos. I want to edit them. I want them to look nice, but they're showing professionals do it. Like, how does that help me?